This story might be wilder than the D&D controversy from Wizards of the Coast. Magic the Gathering is now removing the Kaladesh plane from their card game because the word could be associated with black. I can't believe this is real. This is how far it goes. And you'll start to see when we actually get into their report of why they're doing this, they've got a weird DEI consultancy group that's coming at them and trying to force this kind of thing on the game. And they're making suggestions to change names, get rid of things in order to make things, quote, more inclusive. So Magic the Gathering is in a very, very bad spot. It has been for years. I'll go over some of the history leading up to this. It kind of makes D&D look kind of right-wing by comparison. It's really crazy. Now, of course, Dungeons & Dragons came under fire because Elon Musk actually chimed in about what was happening as they released a history book trashing its founder, Gary Gygax. I haven't seen Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast doing that for Richard Garfield yet, but it could get there pretty soon because, I mean, Richard Garfield did make some of these cards in the beginning that triggers these people, and Magic has gone full nuts right now. This is some of the silliest things I've ever seen on the internet. So please hit the like and subscribe button and join us as we talk about all things in the culture here. I really appreciate you guys for being here and, of course, following my Fandom Pulse Substack, which is growing like magic as well as the channel. Really appreciate you. Yeah, that was a pun. I know. I'm sorry. Dad joke. All right. I'm also a fantasy writer, and this is my first Steam and Country fantasy book. So if you like fantasy, if you like Magic the Gathering, I build up like very, very slowly a magic system in this game that's a lot of fun. It's an airship crew that's fighting against crazy monsters. A big war breaks out. This series really has a wonderful world building. So if you enjoy some of the world building of some of the magic planes, I would have loved to have personally written in Lorwyn. Lorwyn was my favorite if you guys played back then. Let me know what your favorite sort of cycle is and sort of realm is for Magic the Gathering as well. That's my type of stuff. So check this out. You'll love it. It's in the description below. Good fantasy, 6-book series, and it's available on ebook, print, and audio. Thank you so much for reading. So, yeah, I've been playing Magic since I was a kid, and so I quit around 2018, 2016, because I just couldn't deal with it anymore. It was getting bad already at that point. It was not the same game by any means. The original game had cards like Invoke Prejudice, Cleanse, Stone Throwing Devils, Pradesh Gypsies, Jihad, Imprison, and Crusade. And of course, they removed all of those cards in 2020. They've been removed from even TCG Player because it's so triggering. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this exists. So, I mean, Magic is a game of good and bad, and it's actually mostly evil sorcerers fighting against each other. So it's like, what do you expect? But hey, you can't exist anymore. You can't just have things like that. The evil that has to be shown has to be not really evil. It now has to be actually trans representation. And so they doubled down, and here is Alicia, who smiles at death. This character is a dude wearing women's clothing and gets crazy. And, of course, they even wrote story fiction where they made sure that you understood that his gender is hers. Look at how they put it in italics, just so you cannot be mistaken that this is a, quote, real woman. Very ridiculous that they're doing this with Magic the Gathering. They also put a weird transgender planeswalker in. You see this one, like, it looks like a woman. It's got the shaved head mental illness haircut, and it's got a little bit of stubble to show that this woman is taking like testosterone supplements, I guess. I mean, you want to make trans look unappealing. I guess they were trying to do that with this. So they have been pushing this agenda very, very hard at Wizards of the Coast for a long, long time. But the most famous example is actually them going to Lord of the Rings and taking the character of Aragorn when they did their Lord of the Rings set and made him into a black dude. Of course, absolutely crazy that they did this. This upset Lord of the Rings fans pretty badly at the time, and for good reason, because this is a complete bastardization of Tolkien's lore. It does say directly in the book that Aragorn is fair-skinned, and so they changed him specifically to virtue signal for the whole Black Lives Matter thing. This is just what they do all the time. Wizards of the Coast is a terrible company, and same thing. I mean, changing the orcs in Dungeons and Dragons to make them into Mexicans and making them playable characters that are not bad at all. They're just immigrants now. That's insane. And so this is just a picture of the company that's doing this. It's across all of their games. They are pushing this agenda harder than almost anybody else out there, and this is crazy. So this is the news today. Wizards of the Coast posted about their Kaladesh plane, and a plane is a realm. If you don't know, it's like a plane of existence, basically. And the people who are the big sorcerers are called planeswalkers in the game, and they changed it to a Vishkar. And the reason they said was this, and if you look at it immediately, here's what our consultants said. So there is a consultant firm working with Wizards of the Coast to try to add diversity and inclusivity. This is big news here. And I've actually had it rumored that it is actually Sweet Baby Inc. I cannot confirm that, but if you do have information, please let me know. Send me an email so I can get that. But I have heard that Sweet Baby Inc. is involved with Wizards of the Coast, and that is the consultant who's doing this. Now, this is not abnormal. It might not be them. There's a lot of different grifting consulting firms in the DEI world. There's whole groups in fantasy fiction readers. They call themselves sensitivity readers, and publishers literally hire these people to like criticize a book based on like its depiction of black people or disabled people or whatever victim class they want to do, and they write whole reports of why the book should be canceled, so they can force the author to rewrite it. This is mainstream publishing as it is. This is exactly what Wizards of the Coast is doing right here. They're rewriting their game lore because of this nonsense. Here's what our consultant said. When we created the original Kaladesh set, we chose the word Kala as a word that can mean tomorrow or art, or combined with Desh, meaning home or country. So art and tomorrow country, okay. Unfortunately, the term Kala can also be associated with meaning black. Now, look at how silly this is. This is what the word actually means, but it can also be associated with. This is the lengths they go to try to find something to be outraged about. This is what the woke do. They're so insane. It's just like, this makes me want a head desk at this point. Can be associated with the meaning black, and often carries derogatory colorist and racist connotation. What's colorist? Is that a new word? Like, because black is not actually a skin color. Like, I mean, most skin colors are brown, and it's an American term where the African people are called black. So that's kind of like an Anglicizing thing immediately, to where I'm sure if I research into this, it doesn't make sense even more. Colorist? Gosh, yeah, I'm colorist against the color red. It bothers my eyes, everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm sure that has something to do with Native Americans too, right? These people are so insane. I can't even get through this statement. We didn't want that connotation to hang over this plane each time we visited it. Instead, we decided to take Aether Drift as our opportunity to implement a new name. So here's the deal. They can't handle it. And I don't know anybody who ever said this, because I saw when Kaladesh came out the first time. I never heard this when I was in my local game shop. I never heard anybody talking about it online. This is literally something that a grifting consulting group wrote some report on, and now they're all in a tizzy fit internally in the company about. That's all it's about. They made their own controversy here, which is the silliest part about this. Now it goes on, and it says they actually did keep the name originally and then have it changed in-game at some point so that they do respect their own lore. So I guess they're a little better than Games Workshop, who will just completely ignore the lore and then say that the lore itself is untrustworthy. Whereas at least they're admitting that it was there in existence and they're changing it internally. I guess kudos to that. But I mean, this is so stupid and so ridiculous. Magic the Gathering really is in an insane spot right now that it couldn't be worse. So my thought here is the name was changed because it could be construed as the word black. Hopefully nobody tells Wizards of the Coast they have a full color schemes of cards labeled as black and white, lest they scrap their game altogether. I think that should be what we call for at this point. I think Wizards of the Coast needs to change the white color and the black color to something else, or get rid of it entirely, because it is triggering. It is something that is not sensitive. And black and white colors should clearly not exist at all, and we should not acknowledge them, lest we have a complete meltdown. So ridiculous. So yes, Wizards of the Coast has a consulting firm that is absolutely destroying their Magic the Gathering game. They're replacing words just because it can be connotated as the word black. This is the absolute state of Magic the Gathering, everybody. Spread the news around because it's ridiculous. What do you think about this? Please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us and get us to 50,000 subscribers. Of course, follow my Fandom Pulse Substack. And for some great fantasy fiction that doesn't have any of the woke content, check this out, guys. You're going to love this airship adventure. It is in the description below on ebook, print, or audio. Really appreciate you guys for being there. making this a multiple-time bestseller. It's been an amazing year, and you guys are wonderful.